Hi friends, it's Amy. Welcome to my bookish life. Today I have a library haul and it's coming to you a little late because most of these books are due tomorrow. So my job is to figure out which of these books I want to renew and which of these I'm just going to return to the library. So let's get to it. I don't have enough books on my middle grade March TBR, I decided that I wanted to search for some more. So the last time I took my students to the library, I had the opportunity. They were all ready with their books in hands and sitting and reading. I had the opportunity to go look through and find some books. Some of these I chose specifically because they fulfilled a prompt for middle grade March, but some of them just looked interesting and I grabbed them, and I was not very, I just, whatever looked interesting, I just grabbed and I checked it out because why not, right? Okay, numbers towards my library. So, so the first book is The 14th Goldfish by Jennifer L. Holm. It fulfills the contemporary prompt for middle grade March. This says 11-year-old Ellie has never liked change. She misses fifth grade. She misses her old best friend. She even misses her dearly departed goldfish. Then one day a strange boy shows up. He's bossy, he's cranky, and weirdly, he looks a lot like Ellie's grandfather, a scientist who's always been slightly obsessed with immortality. Could this gawky teenager really be Grandpa Melvin? Has he finally found the secret to eternal youth? Maybe it's not contemporary, but that does sound really intriguing. Let's look at all the fish illustrations. It's so cool. Ah, cute. Okay, let's look at the first sentence. When I was in preschool, I had a teacher named Starlily. Oh, man. I took my goldfish home and named it Goldie like every other kid in the world who thought they were being original. But it turned out that Goldie was kind of original because Goldie didn't die. Okay. That sounds kind of good. I'm going to read a little bit more. Hold on. Okay. This seems really cute. This is probably going to be in my renew or at least stay on my TBR pile. The next one that I picked up specifically was suggested by the hosts of Middle Grade March, The Boy at the Back of the Class by Onjali Q. Raúf. This says, on the third Tuesday of the school year, a new kid arrives in Mrs. Khan's class. Ahmet, a Syrian refugee. Everyone is curious about the newcomer, especially since he never smiles and doesn't talk much either. Still, one student is determined to become his friend and learns that standing up for others has the incredible potential to change an entire community for the better. I have heard really great things about this from others who have been reading it. It fulfills the Asian main character, and it fulfills the 5 or more words in the title prompt. Let's read the first sentence. There used to be an empty chair at the back of my classroom. It wasn't special. It was just empty because no one was sitting in it. I'm going to read a little bit more. Okay, so this does not take place in America, so that's really cool. All right. Again, this either has to go on my stay on my want to read or possibly renew. So there we go. All right. Next, I have Starfish by Lisa Phipps. I have heard nothing but wonderful things about this book. It is a novel in verse, which I love. I don't think that I'm going to get to it during middle grade March, but I do want to read a lot more novels in verse for April because it's poetry month. So this one I know for sure I am going to be renewing. Ever since she wore a whale swimsuit and made a big splash at her 5th birthday party, Ellie's been bullied about her weight. To cope, she tries to live by her list of fat girl rules, which are all about not standing out. And she's found a haven in her swimming pool where she feels weightless in a fat-obsessed world. In the water, she can stretch out like a starfish and take up all the space she wants. It's going to be so good. Like, this is definitely a 5-star prediction for me. And this is staying in my hands as long as I can. Definitely, if I don't get to it by the end of middle grade March, which I probably won't because it's almost over, I am going to get to this book in April for Poetry Month. So the next book that I have, just looked so cute, definitely cover was enticing, is The Library of Ever. And this is by Zeno Alexander. This is just gorgeous. This cover, I can't even. It's blurbed by James Riley, who is the author of the Story Thieves series, which I love. It is library in the cover, which is definitely a buzzword for me. With her parents off traveling the globe, Lenora is bored until she discovers a secret doorway into the ultimate library. Mazel-like and reality-bending, the marvelous library contains all the universe's wisdom on its endless shelves, and Lenora becomes its newly appointed 4th assistant apprentice librarian. Oh, gosh. It just looks so beautiful. It sounds so beautiful. This is definitely going to be a renewal. Let's read the first line. Lenora was wretchedly unhappy. She was wretchedly unhappy despite the fact that she was lounging in the back of a giant limousine, so wretchedly unhappy that she had thrown herself across an entire leather seat and was kicking away at one of the doors. I don't even want to read more of this. I know I want to read it. So this is not helping me decide to take some of these books back. The next book that I have is a sequel to a book that I read last month. That is Starry River of the Sky by Grace Lynn. This is the second book, I believe, to Where the Mountain Meets the Moon. It is filled with beautiful illustrations. It would definitely fulfill the Asian main character prompt. The moon is missing in the remote village of a clear sky, but only a young boy named Randy seems to have noticed. Randy has run away from home and is now working as a chore boy at the village inn. He can't help but notice the village's peculiar inhabitants and their problems. Where has the innkeeper's son gone? Why are Master Chow and Widow Yan always arguing? What is the crying sound Randy keeps hearing? And how can crazy old Mr. Sham not know whether his pet is a toad or a rabbit? I mean, I think this is a sequel. Is it a companion? It's a companion. Okay. So definitely picked this up just because it was the next in a series and it felt like something that I might be able to get to. I haven't gotten to it yet. It's going to stay on my list, but I might be returning it just because I didn't get to it this month. Next was very intriguing because of this cover. And it has 5 words in the title, so it fits that prompt. This is Things Too Huge to Fix by Saying Sorry by Susan Vaught. I have never heard of this author before. I've never heard of this book before, but it looks so intriguing. Sooner or later, We're all going to be okay. That's what Danny's Grandma Beans used to say, but that was before she got Alzheimer's. Lately, Danny isn't so sure Grandma Beans was right. In fact, she isn't sure of a lot of things, like why Mac Richardson suddenly doesn't want to be her friend, and why Grandma Beans and Avidel Richardson haven't spoken in decades. Lately, Grandma Beans doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But when she tells Danny to find a secret key and envelope that she's hidden, Danny can't ignore her, so she investigates with the help of her friend, Indri, and her non-friend, Mac. Let's look at the first line. Excerpt from Night on Fire, 1969, by Avidel Richardson, page 2. In 1960, Maud Butler Faulkner died, and 2 of her grown sons didn't survive another 3 years past her last breath. One of them you won't know, the other, a fellow name of William Cuthbert Faulkner. Him you might remember. Why is there a fire on this cover? I'm so intrigued by this. Okay, so there you go. There's another one. Still on my TBR. Great. The next one is Magic's Most Wanted by Tyler Whitesides. Mason Mortimer Morrison has always known that he was unlucky, and that was before his dad was sent to jail. His grades plummeted from meh to yikes, and oh yeah, 2 officers from some organization called Magic's showed up to arrest him in the middle of 4th period. Talk about bad luck. Mason knows he's innocent. He didn't even know that magic was real until the magic scoons showed up and declared him the most wanted criminal in the entire magical world. But in order to clear his name, he's going to need the help of a plucky Magic's junior detective and a cantankerous talking bunny and a whole big heap of good luck. Sounds kind of funny. Here's the first sentence of the prologue. The man watched the house from his hiding spot inside the mailbox. How big is this mailbox? That's crazy. Okay, so in the prologue, it's talking about how Mason is being watched by this operative, and he is giving a message to the mastermind saying that Mason is perfect for whatever this thing is that they have him planned for, and that they're going to have to do something about those pesky parents that love him and all of that. Very intriguing, very much something that will have to stay on my TBR. Blurbed by Chris Grabenstein, who is the author of Escape from Mr. Lemonshow's Library, which is also one of my favorite series. So, again, all right. The next book that I have is The Wolf's Boy by Susan Williams Beckhorn. Tagline is a friendship that changed history. Okay. An outcast boy and a young wolf against an ice age winter. Kai burns to become a hunter and earn a rightful place among his people, but that he can never be. He was born with a club foot. It is forbidden for him to use or even touch a hunter's sacred weapons. Shunned by the other boys, Kai turns to his true friends, the yellow wolves, for companionship. They have not forgotten the young human they nurtured as an abandoned infant. When Kai discovers a motherless cub in the pack, he risks everything to save her, bring her back to live with him. As winter draws near, Kai's wolf grows even more threatening in the eyes of the people. When the worst happens, Kai knows that they must leave for good. Together they embark on a journey north to a place of unimaginable danger that tests the power of friendship and the will to survive. That does sound intriguing. Again, I've never heard of this author before, Susan Williams Beckhorn. Her novel Wind Rider, a first horse story set in prehistoric Asia, received acclaim. Let's read the... There's something there. Oh. Part 2. Okay. Let's read the first line. It's kind of cool. I could not get free. This, as intriguing as this sounds, I don't know that this is a book that I would gravitate towards. I don't know if this is a book that I would want to read. I just don't know. I feel like this could be, for some of my students, a good book. So I think I'm definitely gonna return this one, but I don't want it completely off my radar just because it is definitely intriguing. I think there is definitely, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to think about this. It opens with these kids and they're playing some kind of game, and there's definitely some teasing happening, very mean-spirited teasing, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to completely write it off, but I don't want it off my radar, but think I'm going to return it for sure to the library. All right. And then the last book that I have that I am not currently reading is The Book of Dares. Okay. Wait, sorry. This is really long and it's covered. Okay. The Book of Dares for Lost Friends by Jane Kelley. And this caught my eye because 5 words in the title. But also look at this cover. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. This says, Val and Lenora have been friends forever. Val expects their relationship to stay the same, but after they start middle school, Lenora decides to reinvent herself. This is such a common theme in middle grade books where there's 2 best friends and middle school happens and they decide, one of them decides that they're going to try something new and the other one decides that that's not going to work. It's so common, and it feels like a real worry, a real anxiety that kids go through when they get to middle school, that feeling that I need to be somebody else, and that feeling that if I stay the same person, I'm going to lose my friends. And I just really like seeing that in middle grade books because it is so real. It's such a real emotion and a real feeling. So yeah. Okay. Lenora's parents have split up and she wants to rise above that. Unfortunately, Lenora's choices lead her into trouble. Val hates watching her friend lose her way. She wants to rescue Lenora, but how? Val doesn't know what to do until a stray cat leads her to a strange boy who lives in an even stranger bookshop. Together, they embark on a quest. Will they be able to save a lost friend? Will they get lost themselves? Or will they find a way to help each other become who they want to be? That sounds definitely intriguing. Takes place in a bookshop. Yes, please. Let's read the first line. A sleek black cat walked along the sidewalk. She held her tail high. A shopkeeper shouted at her, 3 little children called, "Ooh, kitty." She didn't even look in their direction. She paused briefly to let a yelping dog lunge at her. She always knew the exact limit of their leashes and that she would never, ever have to wear one. Then she flicked her tail and continued on. I'm sorry, it keeps going on. This whole first page is about how this cat belongs to no one because no cat ever does. They accept our offerings of food and our devotion and allow us to admire their beauty. It's so cat. This is so true. Okay. Okay. This sounds so cute. I don't know if it continues, but this first chapter, the first part that I read is completely from the point of view of the cat. And that's so different for me. That it's very strange, but kind of cool. I kind of like that. I don't know. This is definitely going to stay on my TBR. It's just really cute. Okay, so this one, I'm so intrigued by. And this one, both of these are filled with my buzzwords. The Library of Ever, the Book of Dares. These two definitely are up there. The 14th Goldfish and The Boy at the Back of the Class. I've just heard such great things about both of these. I can't. This one I know that I am interested in just because I really liked the first book that I read by Grace Lynn. So this one definitely I would put on that list as well. This Starfish, I know I'm going to hold on to that one because I want to read that in April for sure for poetry, National Poetry Month. And then these three, I think I'm least interested in these three, but I'm really not uninterested in these three. So this was not the most helpful thing for me. I think of these three, I'm most intrigued by this one because I want to know where all this fire is coming from. I would love to know the reasoning behind all of that. And then probably Magic's Most Wanted, and then probably The Wolf Boy would be the order of intrigue. So, have you heard of any of these books? Have you read any of these books? Let me know down in the comments what you would have put as the most interesting of these choices. I would love to talk with you down there. That's all I have for today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see more from me, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. I hope that you're finding something wonderful to read. And until next time, happy reading. Bye.